Welcome back to the Republic of Football. We're back again, lads. Tonight's going to be a cracker. I've no doubt tonight's going to be a cracker of a show. Before we get into it, lads, how are you doing? Cathal, keeping well?
Keeping well, lad. Yeah, keeping the bright side out. Jeez, that weather out there depressed you, but getting better than watching a bit of football. How are you keeping?
Yeah, all good, man, all good. And yeah, like you're saying about the weather, the only thing I will say is people who are coming into the stream at the moment will notice we haven't had any technical difficulties tonight. The weather's a little bit better here on my side, so hopefully fingers crossed stays that way. But yeah, Squidge man, doing good, yeah?
Yeah, not too bad. I could probably do with a haircut, but other than that, getting by.
Yeah, some mopping of Squidge. As long as you had in a while.
Stop it.
Haircuts. Cole's got the fresh trim tonight.
Yeah, what's his name? It's got like skin though.
Looking
sleek. Lads. So I think he done a
Who did it
serious job. Lockdown skins.
Looking sleek. Yeah. And look, before we get cracking away, as always, thanks to everyone that's joining in, and do hit that like button and remember to subscribe to the channel. So basically, the theme of tonight is going to be the Premier League's most expensive transfers, and that's transfers into the Premier League or within the Premier League, not players gone out. And we're going to look at the top 40. But basically, kind of like the last show, we're going to do like a ranking system of what we make of the overall transfer value for money. Was it a hit? Was it a flop? Some of them are a little bit hard to judge, so we will put them in different categories as well, because let's be fair, there's a couple of big money signings and the players haven't had an awful lot of time, so the jury's still out a little bit. So yeah, let's get cracking, lads. And before we go, big up Stephen, shit silly competition.
I like my
I decided not to wear all my jerseys in the wash.
All right, lads, let's get cracking. So before we start getting into it, I'm just going to throw this up just so everyone in the chat can see. So basically, the categories we're going for, the top of the pile is going to be hit. So that's going to be the players who look best value for money, hit the ground running, or look the longevity of the career within the Premier League for their money. Showing good signs, again, that could be players who have signed. Again, they haven't had an awful lot of time, but they're going the right direction. We got hasn't lived up to expectation. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of those. Not looking good. Our guys, again, could be pretty early days, but it's not looking likely it's going to be value for money. And then absolute flop, aka might be on the way to Tesco. So we'll get into it and we'll have a look. And remember, anybody in the chat, feel free to get involved. Feel free to let us know your feelings. And yeah, look, you can argue with us, fight with us. We love it. We love it. That's it. So yeah, big up to Stephen and Ryan in the chats. Right, lads, let's get cracking. Let's get
ready.
Right. First one we have on the list. First one is Ruben Diaz, and I had to zoom in there because the old eyesight's not the best nowadays. Ruben Diaz, lads. Squidge, we go with you first. What you reckon, Ruben Diaz?
It's very early to judge him yet, but I think he definitely will become a hit. Yeah. It's just whether it's too early to put him in the hit category yet. So I'd probably put him into showing good signs. He definitely will be a hit, but I just think it's too soon to say he's a hit yet.
Yeah, Cathal, would you agree?
Yeah, he's only literally started, and I'm actually surprised how young he is as well. Only 23. Yeah, I agree. Like, he's a lot of fights at defense, but it's still too early to call.
Yeah,
he has been the best centre back. Matthew's right there. He's been the best centre back in the league this year. He's a replacement. He's the replacement that they've been looking for since Company left, I think. But I just think it's too soon to put him in the hit yet because he's only there for 2/3 of a season.
Exactly, and like he's making him and John Stones he's making John Stones look good beside him, so he's doing a great job.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. He does look good. Yeah, look, showing good signs, I think, is the fairest place to put him. I've no doubt he's gonna be a hit. Let's be fair, he is a hit already, but like that, just because it's such early days, I think showing good signs is the fairest way, because look, you never know. It could take an absolute turn for the worst in the next couple of seasons. I'm not I'm not holding my breath on that one. But yeah, I think it's fair we start off showing good signs. Yeah.
Nice little simple one.
Now, next one up. That was a handy start. We've got Cancelo now. Sticking with Man City. Cancelo, Cahill.
Cancelo, like, I tell you, he's so versatile right now. Whereas Pep Guardiola was playing him as what, slot in a left back, but he's actually not even playing as a left back. Playing him, like, as you've seen tonight in the Champions League, I'm almost in the centre midfield. Great pass for the ball. I think so far, based on current form, he'd be the same as Diaz. He's just like he will. He's still young as well. Like, I think City could, like, they're still in all competitions this season as well, so room for improvement for him.
Yeah, Squidge, what are your feelings?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with Colin there. I think he's like, it's only early in his Man City career, really, but what he's shown so far, he seems like a top quality player. I'd probably put him in the same category as Ruben Diaz there, showing good signs. I think there's a lot more to come from him. So,
yeah, definitely. I was just going to say, I had two Man City fans on my Arsenal channel there to preview the Arsenal-Man City game. And Daps, the Man City fan, actually said that, Cancelo was that good. He could be the first player to get into the team of the year in two different positions because of the way he moved from a fullback position into a centre midfield position. He's just, again, another player looks destined to be a hit, but look, early days, so I think it's fair to go showing good signs.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay, next up, again, it's another City player. I apologise for the order that these are in. I had these all set out in different orders. This website just does not like me, and it
doesn't want to work for us.
It just doesn't want to cooperate. But look, I'm going with it. Yeah. So look, we got Sterling up next. So Cahill, Sterling.
Sterling, like, one of the biggest transfers. Like, his contract at Liverpool was coming to an end, and City just landed him with decent money as well. Like what, 49 million for him back in 2015. Then he became PFA Young Player of the Year. I think Sterling under Pep has become, like, he's actually shown, like, really, 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 like, okay, at Liverpool he's shown potential, but at City he's really excelled under Pep. Like, sensational player, I think, lad. For me, I think he's a hit because of his height and his lower centre of gravity, taking players on. Always, like, finishing outside the box is class as well. And at the weekend, he gets you an odd header too, just like he did against the Arsenal, unfortunately.
I don't remember.
But yeah, I actually put him up there as a hit. Yeah, 100%.
I think it's one of the easiest picks of the night, lads. He's definitely been a hit. He was only 20 when he joined from Man City, from Liverpool to Man City. And Pep just seems to be making him better and better every year. He's been one of the mainstays in that team with transfers coming in and out. Sterling's always going to be there. He's big hit, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, and again, to go back to one of the City fans that I had on my own channel, it's actually a funny one because when the name Raheem Sterling came up, I honestly thought he was gonna give him a glowing reference and big him up, but the way he described him was actually, there's a player in the City team whose stats are absolutely undeniable, but if you watch him play, he said he's technically awful. He cannot control a ball. He'll score with the side of his head, meaning to head it, to the front of the goal.
Yeah,
he'll go in off his shin, he'll go in off his knee. But he said, but statistically, he's undeniable. But technique-wise, he said he's actually very, very poor. But look, this is going with his track record. So look, yeah, I would agree. He's definitely been a hit since he signed for City.
He misses an awful lot of easy chances. His composure could probably be a bit better. But he's still, like, he's 113 goals or something like that since he went to City. Do you know what I mean? So he's doing something right.
Yeah, completely.
Play on both wings as well. Play on both wings.
Yeah. Right, next one up, Cahill, I'll let you take the lead on this one. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Hit on me.
One of his favourite United players. Not been biased around him, but yeah, he was unreal at Palace as well in his debut season with them. Big money move as well, 50 million splashed cash. I think I put, we haven't won at him with him yet, but he's definitely going to be in a winning team with us. But He's definitely hasn't lived. He's lived more up than expectation. Like he's literally met the demands. Showing good signs, but really, like I think he's showing good signs with room to improve. Like, especially moving forward.
It's hard to disagree. Like he's probably the best. If you're talking about a fullback, he's probably the best defender out of any fullback in the league now at the minute.
Yeah.
He was signed for 45 million, which can go up to 50 million with add-ons.
Yeah.
So look, 50 million is a lot of money, but in this day and age, I think he's a good future ahead of him. Yeah, I'd say, showing good signs. I'd say you can't really put him. You couldn't really put him in a hit yet, and the other three, no, it's the fairest category to put him in.
Yeah.
To be honest, with Wan-Bissaka, I would actually put him. No, look, I'll agree with you. Showing good signs is the fairest, but I would actually put him in as a hit because he's come in for a large fee, and he hasn't actually disappointed. He's made that position his own. He's definitely one of the most solid right backs in the league. And look, United are doing very well. So I think in terms of the move to United and how he's performing and value for money, I think for United he's definitely been a hit. But look, showing good signs, if that's probably the fairest.
I agree. Like
I wouldn't be wrong with saying he'd be a hit either. Yeah, it's just like how you describe him.
Yeah, I get your point. I'd still probably put him in the showing good signs category though, because I think he still has a lot to prove. Do you know what I mean? He's a lot of his career ahead of him. But in terms of transfer, I suppose he has been a hit because. Like he went for, as you said, he went for big money, but he hasn't really been found out.
You can rely on him. He's actually one of the one players he always will get in that United starting lineup. He always gets starting. It's hard to tell who's going to play with Maguire or someone else. But Wan-Bissaka, definitely 1-on-1. His tackling is unreal to watch. So I wouldn't disagree with you if you want to put him in the hit category either. But put him down.
Yeah, I'd stick him in the hit as well.
Yeah, I just think he's probably exceeded the expectations we had because like that, young guy coming from Crystal Palace. I don't think people expected for 45 million. I don't think people were expecting the return that they have got out of him so far. I think a lot of people were expecting he's going to be a bit in out of his depth here. But no, I think he's definitely holding his own. And if you were happy with it, I'd be happy to say he looks a hit so far anyway.
Yeah, go on, go for it.
We go for it. We have to
come on the web.
Now, next up, Kyle Walker. What do we make of this one, Kyle?
Kyle Wavy Mandem is what I call him. I know Kyle Walker. He's made a big move to City. Like Pep Guardiola straight away wanted an attacking fullback when he came into the club, and it was literally City splashed the cash on him. Look, he's moved up from Tottenham because I think he wanted to win titles, and under Pep, he definitely can do that, and he's shown. Definitely a hit because his pace, he's well able to go up and down all day long. Always cover his tracks when he gets caught out going forward. So he's definitely been a hit in the Premier League for his money.
Easy one again, lads. Kyle Walker's been one of the best right backs in the league since he went to Man City. Even before he went to Man City, he was one of the best right backs when he was with Spurs. He's got a lot better since he went to Man City. Easy one, hit all day.
That's a good point for Ryan Maguire there as well. He slots in a centre back when needed as well.
Could there be an argument though that he hasn't lived up to expectation if Cancelo's come in and taken his spot? Because is he not supposed to be a Man City mainstay for a long?
What age is he now? How long has he been at Man City?
Oh, he's there a while. But there's still a lot of football left in him,
Definitely.
Oh, 100%.
I think he's near 30 years of age now. You'd be surprised.
No.
I still think from what they paid for him to what they got out of him, he's been a hit.
And what they still can get out of him if needed. So he's definitely
if Cancelo came in a year or two after they signed him, then but he's been there right back for the last 5-6 years, is it?
Definitely he's been a hit. Yeah, 100%.
So you want to go hit with that one, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, cool. Now, Squidge, your man, Christian Pulisic.
Oh, Christian Pulisic, where do I have him? I think like when he's on the pitch, he's a hit, but he's not on the pitch enough to be a hit. If he stays, we were talking about it in the last video we had. If he stays injury free, he'd definitely be a hit. But I don't know, will he? He's showing good signs. That's where I put him.
What do you think, Cole?
Yeah, like that's it. Like we all kind of questioned. I questioned it. Is he going to be able to handle all the toughness of the Premier League? And like he can weave in and out of like no bother. Like he's serious close control dribble. Showing good signs. I put him because he's like that. If he stays injury free, if he gets a run of consecutive games, he's still a lot to prove in a Chelsea shirt. 100%. I actually think showing good signs. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Wednesday.
You could say he hasn't lived up to expectation. You could easily say that.
Yeah,
I think when he's on the pitch, he has. It's just when he's injured.
I'm leaning towards. I'm going to be a little bit harsh with some of these. I'm leaning towards hasn't lived up to expectation, and it's not of any fault of his own. It's because of the injuries and that, and he came in with a big expectation, and like we know the potential he has. Again, not his fault with the injuries, but if I'm a Chelsea fan, I can see the potential, but I will be frustrated, and I will be saying I'm expecting a lot more. Again, when you're getting fit and ready. So for me personally, if I was a Chelsea fan, I would be saying,
I'd have to agree with that as well, because he hasn't. Like if you're looking at it from a non-biased point of view, he hasn't lived up to expectations. And I said it before. Like I think he's too soft. He's a great player, but I just think he needs to toughen up a little bit. So I'd have no problem putting him in that category. It's.
Yeah, look, and again, a lot of these categories, like just because someone hasn't lived up to expectations does not mean they haven't been good. It's just we have such high expectation, that they haven't quite hit. It by no means Pulisic is a bad player or has done badly. We're such a high for him,
I think everyone's a fan of him too, to be honest with you. Like he does.
When he was on form there for a while last season, like he was absolutely lighting the league up, like. But it's just the injuries that's holding him back, and now he's not injured now, and he can't really break into the team as well. So you nearly have to say hasn't lived up to expectations.
Happy to go with that one.
Happy to go with that one.
Sweet.
I'll give you that one.
It's not anything to do with ability or anything. He's been unfortunate, but yourself, we very, very high expectations for him. Next one, Aubameyang. So yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Carl, let me start with that one.
Aubameyang. I know Aubameyang. Like I have to love him. Like 100%. He's the talisman for his. As of late, like especially, it's hit or miss this season. Like he's definitely hasn't been in the squad. Lacazette is kind of getting the nod. And he's majority playing out in left wing now. But yeah, overall what he's done, even on the Wenger era, he's a hit for me, like to be honest with you. I know he hasn't got you the Premier League title but he's definitely a player that's on his day, he's just unplayable.
Yeah, would you agree, Squidge?
Another hit all day long. There's no point. Like everyone will agree to that Aubameyang has been a hit transfer for Arsenal since he came. There's no two ways about it.
I know I'm wearing the shirt here. So look, you know what my answer is going to be. But look, take this season out of it altogether. He's been non-existent this season. But yeah, look, single-handedly been carrying us for the past couple of seasons. And Carl, like you said, I know he hasn't got your Premier League title. But you know what? It's going to take a hell of a lot more than Aubameyang to get us a Premier League.
100%. You need everyone like Aubameyang in your team. Like.
No, Aubameyang to Tesco.
Just he's just he looks like a cool guy to hang. I'd love to hang around with him. Like he just seems to off the pitch. He's such a good crack.
Yeah.
Did you get the same haircut as of? Is that where you got the haircut?
That's what it was.
I cut your hair yet, Squish.
Fernando Torres, go.
Absolute flop. Signed him for 50 million. He was the British transfer record at the time. He came when he was 26 years of age to Chelsea. It was meant to be coming into his absolute prime. He was one of the best strikers in the world when he came in. And then he was absolutely useless for Chelsea. I know he scored that great goal against Barcelona in the semi-final of the Champions League in the away leg in the Nou Camp. But in all fairness, he didn't do it week in, week out. Flop all day long.
Yeah, what's your
Switch, I mean, like, he was insane. I mean, like, he had his best days with Liverpool, like, but that's not what we're talking about here, though. Like, he even had, Vidic couldn't even contain him. Like, Torres is like absolute flop. Like, you can't go and spend that money and just literally get nothing out of it. I know that one goal I just talked about there was probably like the best goal he scored in a Chelsea shirt. But yeah, absolute flop, boys. Did not think that would happen. Thought he'd literally go on, as you said, Squidge, and literally annihilate the league again.
He scored 45 goals in 172 appearances. Like, for Fernando Torres coming to Chelsea, you're expecting way more out of him. Like, at the time, he was the best striker, one of the best strikers in the world. So for me, he's a flop.
Yeah, I think. Look, I don't think he was as bad as maybe the stats and whatever suggests at Chelsea. I think the problem is he came in from Liverpool with such high expectation, and he looked a shadow of the player that was at Liverpool. So, you know, if you think you're getting that, it's almost like Alexis Sanchez at Arsenal and then going to United, absolutely unplayable at Arsenal, and then absolutely cannot play at Man United. You know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. You know, so look, I'd be happy enough to go flop. It's a debate between hasn't lived up to expectation or an absolute flop. To be honest with you, because in a Liverpool shirt, you know what I mean.
But in a Liverpool shirt, he went from Chelsea to Liverpool, and you're expecting the same, or if not better. Like, now I know you could say he hasn't lived up to expectation, and I seen Ryan M's comment there. How can you say a flop? Because he scored some big goals for Chelsea and we won the Europa League, whatever. But he was the highest all-time transfer in English football at the time. Like, you can't, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
He scored some big goals. But
he carried that on the way to the shoulders, though.
But sure,
so, I wouldn't disagree with any of your selections there, lads. Honestly, it's just it is kind of a bit of a hard one.
Yeah. But, move on. Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah.
Who wants to start with this one?
You take that.
You can start. Proper going on.
Do I have to, lads? I'm telling you, from having my own Arsenal channel, I am sick of talking about this guy at this stage. I'm sick trying to defend this lad. I'm sick trying to convince people. Now, look, he's been showing signs, but then he's not showing enough. Transfer fee is always, no matter what, is always going to be the determining factor in his Arsenal career. It's always going to be the way. There's absolutely no way he's ever living up to 72 million. I want to say not looking good, because he does show me glimpses. He shows me glimpses now and again. The problem is he show you a glimpse for maybe a game or two, and then he give you 6 performances where he doesn't. So for the money, for the expectation, not his fault, but I'm going to put him down as an absolute flop. He's a record transfer signing, and he's just not up to it. He just doesn't look a Premier League player, if I'm being completely honest. And maybe I'm being harsh, but I think as an Arsenal fan, I think he's a flop.
I think you could put him in either of the 3 bottom categories, but because you spent 72 million on him and you're literally getting nothing back for it, you could easily say he's not living up to expectations, because he's not living up to expectations. You could say he's not looking good because he's not looking good, but because you spent so much money on him, I put him in the flop category as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. Because with that, his inconsistency wrecks my head. If Pepe was in front of me and he did tracking back, he does none of the defensive work. He frustrates.
So are we all in agreement? He's a flop.
Flop.
I want to answer that one there. William's not on the list. Where I wouldn't even put him in Tesco. I wouldn't even put him in Tesco.
Williams a Chelsea legend.
He's out to get you, so he is.
He'd be down working. He'd be down working in, the AJ Butt shop there in town. That's the best place for him. Down there. Absolutely. Like Martial, Cole.
Anthony Martial.
Oh, Martial, like especially this season is just lads, I don't know what it is. Like for me, I don't think like we made 1.6 million transfer back at 15, which made him the highest fee paid for a youngest player. Like, I mean, it just wrecks my head about it, but he's so inconsistent. When he got United's player of the season last year. Look, yeah, I thought we were on to getting something serious when he scored 17 goals in his debut season for us, in all competitions. I don't know. At the moment, it's not. What would you say?
I think you froze there for a second there, Colin.
Yeah. Where did you say you put him, Colin?
Oh, sorry, lads. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'd have him in the not looking good category. Yeah.
He's not. I'd have him in the not living up to expectations category either, because when he did sign, he signed for 50. Like, what's he sign for? 50 odd million.
He signed the youngest, the highest fee for a young player, and Van Hal. Like that, I thought he made. Remember his first goal? He made Bates of Skirtle. I just thought
he scored a good goal for
Liverpool.
He had a good first season, but then it's his attitude as well. It's just, you know what I mean. He doesn't look like he's bothered at all, which would wreck my head if I started to hide it.
Yeah.
I put him in the hasn't lived up.
And you know what wrecks my head as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. No fact. I just don't think how Ollie could start him right now in terms of he literally has a smile on his face. It doesn't even look like he enjoys football, especially with United. And United could sell him on, and I'd say he'll probably he'll light up that league.
I think he has the talent, but I just don't think he's half bothered. So he's not living up to expectations.
He's not a striker. He's definitely a winner.
You know what? Yeah. He was. I'd agree with Squidger.
What do you think, Anton?
Expectation. He was supposed to be the next Thierry Henry when he arrived, and he wouldn't even lace Henry's boots. I'm sorry, he wouldn't.
Not a fair.
And he did show really promising signs. You remember that goal against Liverpool that he scored early days, and you thought this kid is going to develop into something serious. United have a serious talent on their hands. If I'm a United fan, I'm going to be really disappointed with how he has developed. I definitely think, for me, he hasn't lived up to expectations.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you just know there's so much more in him.
Yeah.
I think the next is an easy one now. Bernardo Silva, Squidger.
For me, Bernardo Silva he's been a hit. From what he brings to the Man City team, he scored there again tonight. But when he came, with the first season he came, it was the first season. I think he was there. He was one of the players of the year. He was brilliant. He absolutely lit the league up. I think he then he had that kind of situation where he got fined and banned for a couple of matches over the Benjamin Mendy thing, which I didn't think was. And I think he kind of took that bit to heart. Do you know what I mean? And he didn't play well for a while. But I think he's class. I'd love to have him in Chelsea. He's definitely a hit for me.
Yeah, do you know what? I definitely agree with you. And to be honest as well, I wasn't expecting him to be as good as he is. So I think reason as well, he's far exceeded. I knew he was a good player, but he far exceeded my expectation of him. So yeah, I'd go hit. What about you, Colin?
Yeah, definitely. He can play left wing, right wing, centre mid again. So versatile. He's really, really, really enjoyed to watch. So definitely a hit.
Yeah, it's an easy one there for me.
Easy enough. And Carl, I go back to you. This is probably one of the easiest on the list as well. Bruno.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a hit all day long. yeah, even in games where United are playing muck, and even at times he's playing poor as well, but he just gets a goal or he gets an assist. He makes things happen for us. 39 appearances, 23 goals, 23 wins for us already. He's always on the winning side majority of the time for us because he's in. 100% hit. What do you think?
Another easy decision. He's been probably the best player in the league since he moved, which I hate saying because I hate United, but he's hit all day. Simple. He's for what they bought. What did they buy him for? 67 million. He's already worth double. Well, maybe not double that, but he's worth 120 million now. Maybe
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I initially thought that Barca was going to get him, or eventually United were just losing him.
Yeah. I wish I could say flop for Bruno, but look, not only is he scoring goals, his performances are good. He's galvanized the whole team, and for someone to come in like that, and he's transformed the whole of the United starting 11. When he's on the pitch, you can see the difference he makes, and when he's not on the pitch, United are a different team altogether. So easy hit. And the next one I don't even want to talk about. Mesut Ozil.
You're first. You have to go first there.
If Pepe frustrated me, I don't even want to. Look, with this one, I'm going to say hasn't lived up to expectations because, look, he did have about 2 solid seasons for us. He did win FA Cups with us. Just this was supposed to be the guy. This was meant to be the guy. This was our marquee sign, and this was supposed to be the end of an era. We're supposed to be moving on to bigger, better things. We signed Ozil. We signed Alexis Sanchez the next season. Now, this was meant to be the one who brought, the big names to the Emirates. Look how it all panned out. A back injury, a bad attitude. Yeah, this for me did not live up to expectations. Promised so much, and in the end, aside from his first 2 seasons, delivered so little. So for me, definitely did not live up to expectation.
I have to agree with you there.
Yeah,
it's a case of you actually know that he has the talent in him. A bit like Martial, he just doesn't seem bothered, or he wouldn't be tracking lads back and stuff like that. Wreck my head especially if he's meant to be your top player and he's getting the most, or he's the highest paid player at the club, wage wise and stuff like that. It just doesn't seem like he's bothered. Definitely, he was World Cup winner, most assists across Europe, and then he comes to Arsenal and he just doesn't seem that bothered. He obviously, as you said, he had a couple of good seasons, but definitely didn't live up to expectations.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to discredit him. When he was good, he was very, very good, and he has the stats, early days to back it up. I just think his career as a whole, what was he? I think he was nearly 8 seasons, 7.5, 8 years with us. So, to get that return, maybe 2.5, 3 maybe at a push, good seasons, and the rest extremely mediocre to poor and non-existent, no involvement. I think you have to say, as a whole, his career at Arsenal was a major disappointment.
Yeah, so, agree with you.
Definitely no expectation. So, Fred Cull, what do you reckon?
Yeah, Fred, he'd wreck your head. It's just I trust him and Scott McTominay. I put him down. He has to live up to expectation. I just think he gives the ball away too much. He has the energy to run up and down the football field all day long, but he doesn't. He's just on the team. I don't think he even contributes too much. From what all the talk about him, especially in the Brazilian team and all, I just don't know. Mourinho begged United to get him, and literally we landed him. I just think, hasn't lived up to expectations. Wouldn't start him anymore. I just think he just wrecks my head.
What do you reckon, Squidge?
Yeah, I think for 53 million, and when he came that time, there was a good bit of hype about him. And as Carl said there, I don't know what he does to the team, what he kind of gives to the team, other than his work rate, maybe. He's a bit hot-headed. He doesn't score goals. He doesn't really get assists. What does he do, really? I put him in a not looking good.
Yeah, Squidge,
Yeah.
I was leaning towards that myself. I was looking at that, and for the reason of, look, he's still in the United team. He does still have a role in there. And look, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but look, he's a £50 million player, but in reality, he's not a £50 million player, if you get me, and I'm not saying, look, he's still in the United team. I just think he's fairly easy replaceable, and I don't think it's going to be too long before United do replace him. So for me, I'd say not looking good for Fred.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, yeah, it's not looking good, but it's the thing is he will kind of always get starting for the big games against the top six. He will definitely get his place there, sort of way. So it hasn't lived up to.
I think United are going to have to go out and buy. I think they're going to have to buy a better player in that position. I just think.
Yeah.
I just don't think if United want to start winning leagues again, Fred's not going to be your man in midfield to start winning them. Feel like.
No, he just can't basics, right? He always kind of seems to give the ball away and can't do that. So yeah, I'm happy enough to put him in that category, not looking good or hasn't lived up to expectation.
Yes, Carl, the tiebreaker for you might be when he was signed. Put the fact that he was a £50 million signing, put that to the side. Did you have much expectation for him?
Never really heard of Fred. Only until we were linked with him. That was really it. I wasn't keeping tabs on him when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk beforehand.
Yeah. So probably fair to say, look, it's just not looking good.
Yeah, fair to say. I suppose not going to disagree with you.
Sweet.
I hope.
Right, John Stones, Squidge.
This I actually had a bit of trouble coming to a conclusion on this one earlier, lads, because if it was 2 or 3 months ago, I would have been saying not looking good for him because he was out of the team. He was making mistakes in games. I don't think Pep trusted him. But since Diaz came into the team and since Stones been playing out of his skin the last 12, 14 games.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going from right now, and he's only I think what age? He's only 26 now, is he? He's still only young.
Yeah.
So this is a really tough one because as I said, if it was 3-4 months ago, I probably would have said or not looking good or hasn't lived up to expectations. But I think now he's showing good signs again. That's probably where I put him now.
Yeah, Colin, what do you think?
I don't know, to justify the difference. Future England number 1 centre half as well. No, I think Pep's made an example out of him in that squad. He's only kind of got his chance because again due to injuries and stuff like that. I just don't think Port is fit. He'll definitely be playing ahead of Stones alongside Diaz all day long. I have him not looking good.
Not looking good.
To be honest, decent form, but Port
up to you, Anton.
And you know what, lads, and I'm going to completely throw a spanner in the works here. I was going to go, hasn't lived up to expectation, and it was kind of for a point that Cahill made there. I think he is showing good form, as you said, Squidge. But I think they were looking at this guy. He, like Cahill said, he was going to be a mainstay in the England squad, and it hasn't happened. And he was supposed to be one of the better, ball playing centre halves in the Premier League, one of England's best, on the ball players, and massive improvement out of him this season. I just think, as a whole, so far he hasn't lived up to expectation. Now, that's not to say he won't go on to fulfil his potential in that, but just for me, he hasn't lived up to the overall expectation. So. Yeah, we might need to consult the chats for this one for the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
What you reckon?
Yeah. Wonder what the viewers think of this one now. He's a gonk. That's what he is. That's what one of the viewers said.
It's a tough one. At different parts of his Man City career, he could have been any of them. Do you know what I mean? He could be put in any of the categories. Is like I seen where Ryan M says there Laporte is fit and Stones is keeping him out of the team. I don't know. It's a hard one to call.
It's literally. So right now, even if both were fit, would you start Stones? Would you start?
I think Laporte
Diaz is definitely.
Or Laporte.
I think Laporte is a better player.
Yeah, I think it's actually crazy that Laporte. Yeah, you're right. Go on. We'll go with that. What's our verdict here?
We can come back to it at the end, maybe.
Right, hold on. We have a few chats, right? Right now, he's a hit. Last year, Stone's unbelievable. Best dancer in the league. Showing good signs right now. Look, yeah, I think maybe, is it fair to say, showing good signs? Because he is, in fairness, currently.
Yeah, okay.
That's where I went for it.
He currently is.
Currently showing good signs. Right. He's playing well. He's playing good stuff. He's in the side.
For the sake of the tiebreaker, I'm happy to go with that. Right, move on. Naby Keita.
Naby Keita now. We kind of signed around the same time with United signed Fred, and Naby Keita I think is one of the biggest flops. Like Liverpool just looking for Naby Keita, and then suddenly, they paid mad money for him. Definitely a flop. And we haven't seen too much from him either. Even when he stays fit, he won't even get a run in games, I don't think, in that midfield, in Liverpool's midfield.
Yeah. Like he was signed for 54 million, and the injuries haven't plagued lads. He's absolutely cursed with injuries. Like he's been a flop because he's been injured all the time.
Yeah,
that's like, and it's
the sum it up, 100%.
Yeah, it's harsh. It's probably harsh on him, but he hasn't played enough games. Like you're coming in with this big price tag, and then you're injured all the time. You're a flop. That's the way I'd be looking at it.
Yeah, you know what sticks in mind is when they wasn't Steven Gerrard presenting them with the number 8 jersey, and they were making such a big deal of it. Like, look, I know he has talent and that, but yeah, as a whole, so far, I don't think Liverpool fans will be too happy with how his career has gone at Liverpool. So I agree with flop.
Yeah,
flop.
Flop all day long. Easiest flop of the flops.
On the flop.
Right, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Squidge.
Gylfi. Where will I put Gylfi? Right. Gylfi was signed for about 45 million.
Yeah,
from Swansea City. He had a really good season at Swansea City, or season or two at Swansea City. He was signed for 45 million, which for Everton, like if it was United or Man City or Liverpool or Chelsea that signs a player for 45 million, but the fact that Everton went out and spent 45 million on a player, it's nearly like to spend 70. It's nearly like United spending 70 million, if you get me, because like they never really do it. And he's captain in the side now. He's a decent player, but I don't think I could put him in hit. Showing good signs. Probably hasn't lived up to expectations. That's where I put him. 45 million, Everton. He needs to be having stormers week in, week out.
I think he's a good set piece specialist. Like he's a threat with them. He's known for his outside of the box goals as well. Gylfi Sigurdsson, I actually agree with it there, Squidger. Like if it was any one of our clubs that ball, there would be such uproar about him. Because he's playing for Everton, he hasn't really got cemented his place in the starting lineup under Ancelotti when he first came in either. So, it hasn't lived up to expectation.
Yeah, it's hard to put him anywhere else. What do you think, Anto?
Yeah, I was leaning towards hasn't lived up to expectation and not looking good, because the expectation of his price tag, I didn't think he was ever going to live up to that price tag, because he's not a £45 million player. He's decent, and
for his age as well.
I was going to say not looking good because, look, the way Everton are now, they have money to spend. I can't see him lasting too much longer before they do decide to replace him. But look, I'd be happy enough to go hasn't lived up to expectation.
He's 29 goals in 142 appearances, and a good few of them were penalties. You know, for a 45 million player, he needs to be doing more. That's
definitely. So we're going to go.
You need to be starting for that price. You need to be starting week in, week out for a club.
Yeah, definitely right. The next one should be handy enough. Carl, let's start with yourself. Sebastian Haller from when he went to West Ham, now at Ajax. I think it's going to be easy enough.
Yeah. It was signed on the back of out of nowhere. Haller, he was on the sign on the back of having a good season at Frankfurt. Again, we were not. I wouldn't say ourselves. We're not expecting West Ham to splash the cash on him. But no. I think the other West Ham fans would know that they were crying out for a striker. They needed not just up there on his own. Needed a bit of competition for him. Haller, he's flopped for me. Because with that money, you know you're going to be starting. You know you're going to right. This is a new team. You kind of new manager, new expectations, new league. You want to hit the ground running, and he just didn't do that for me.
Yeah, Scridge, that's fair.
Flop all day long. 14 goals in 54 appearances after spending 45 million on him. Flop, easy, easiest flop selection out of the group.
Yeah. Look, the fact that he's now moved on to Ajax as well. He came in with big expectation. You know, himself and Luka Jovic, they were good together at Frankfurt. Has to be a flop. That's a
flop.
sample.
Flop it on.
Yeah, even Viagra wouldn't help him. Right, Harry Maguire, Carl.
Harry Maguire, I don't even know what's the clue with Harry Maguire in terms of this is where everyone comes at me as a United fan. Instantly say Harry Maguire. We needed a centre half. To see our defence out of the top 10 in the league this season is the worst. He's a ball playing centre half. He's commanding. When you play the high line with him, you know it's not good because he's not really slow. He's not really fast. Sorry, to keep up with fast playing strikers. 80 million. You know, and last summer a bit of controversy. You know, he had a troublesome summer. Then we bring that into the season. Didn't start well. Look, as of now, where our position is, he's nowhere near of Van Dijk is for Liverpool and what Van Dijk brings to Liverpool. But at this moment, he is showing good signs because he played every minute of football last year for us, and he still continues to do it this year when he is selected and when starting. He's a club captain as well now, lads. He's given the role, a massive role, which I think should be given to Bruno. But aside from Bruno, showing good signs at the minute.
What do you think, Squidge?
I'd have him in, hasn't lived up to expectation, just for the simple reason he was 80 million. You go out and spend 80 million on a defender, 99.9% of them, probably Virgil van Dijk being the exception, he's going to not live up to expectations because how could you I think Man United rush bought him when the kind of rush panic bought him because Van Dijk worked out at Liverpool. I think it was kind of I don't think he's lived up to expectations. He's too slow. Yes, he's the club captain.
It is a bit of a headache for the category. Yeah,
he's not good enough. That's it. He's a 35 million.
Yeah, no, he isn't. He hasn't improved. Yeah, 100%.
And it's not his fault. He was
80 million.
It's not his fault. He was bought for 80 million.
Buy a whole defence for that.
It's not his fault. He was bought for 80 million. But
I do think him and Bailly together, they do look solid. Huh? Yeah,
solid. But you want more than solid. You need more than solid for 80 million.
As we pointed out though, for John Stones, showing good signs because of recent form, United where they are and everything, we're in the Europa League, FA Cup, still in the FA Cup, we still got a trophy yet. So, I'm not really. I believe I'm not too wrong by saying showing good signs.
80 million.
But with Harry Maguire, what I find is, obviously the fee is obviously going to do him every single time, and it's a tough one because he's a captain of a side who are definitely exceeding expectations and doing really, really well this season. I just think when you look at when United do have a bad game and they're conceding goals, usually he's the man that's involved, and to me, he's the guy that kind of looks out of place, and I think other people are kind of bailing him out a lot of the time, and he's the captain. You know, so for me, definitely.
It's because we play line. Yeah, it's we play with the high line, which makes when we get caught. It's just Bailly. That's why I was saying Bailly beside him, we look more solidified. Like 100%, he looks more comfortable there. But yeah, he should be more of an aerial threat, like for us when we get our corners.
He gets on the end of corners.
That's what I'm saying. It's such a headache.
He gets on the end of corners the whole time, but he never scores.
Yeah,
no, I just don't know.
That's why I actually have a bit of a headache. I'm not going to leave it rambling on too long either. That was I picked. But I'm happy. 100%. I see the reasons why he's 80 minutes price tag. Club captain. Yeah, I'm happy enough. It's a headache, like.
Well, he doesn't look an 80 million player.
But he's better. He's better than Rudiger.
Right, we move on. Right, this should be an easy enough one. Benteke to Liverpool. Who wants to start with that?
Flop and move on.
Yeah, I think we're all agreed. Yeah. Easy. Next one, Lukaku at United. Cole.
He had a bad touch. First touch. Not enough goals for us. Yeah, like I wouldn't major flop. No, but I don't even know. I don't think he's lived up to expectations at United. I don't even want to really talk about Lukaku. Like, just thought we'd do way better with him.
For the money he spent on him, 76, 77 million, you're expecting a lot more. He scored 42 goals in 96 appearances, which isn't too bad. Like, it's one in every two,
no,
just over one in every two. But you're expecting more from him, definitely. Like,
yeah,
you can see what he's doing now at Inter as well.
Yeah,
so.
He hasn't lived up to. He hasn't lived up to expectation whatsoever.
Yeah,
I'd be happy enough. Yeah, like I wouldn't say he wasn't awful at United by any means. Like, but yeah, definitely didn't live up to the expectations.
Yeah, you're expecting more of him.
Di Maria, Man United, Squidge.
You could either put him like he was only there for one season. The house got broken into. I think there was a big hullabaloo made about that. Probably he wasn't a complete flop. I wouldn't say he only scored like 4 goals all season, so he wasn't great by any stretch.
Yeah,
but I think when he came, he was like one of the best wingers in Europe. They were expecting a lot more out of him, so I probably put him in that hasn't or didn't live up to the expectations.
Like 75 million broke the British transfer record deal that summer, 2014. Like it was actually a pity, like because he wasn't brutal, not one bit. I definitely thought, he could do some serious at United. Like I
think the minute he moved there, it felt for me like the minute he moved there. I could say a week or two after he moved there, it was like a lad who said, "Geez, I'm after making a mistake coming here," and he didn't want to be there. And he didn't want to play there, and then he just kind of
27 appearances, 27 appearances, 3 goals, 10 assists in one season. I mean, more like Di Maria can score more goals now. We all know he can. Assists, like for me, it hasn't lived up to expectation. I put down,
yeah. That's true.
I would have called him a flop because I expected. I know you could say he didn't.
75 million.
Yeah, 75 million. One season.
Yeah, 75 million.
5 million.
Yeah.
Really. And look at him now. Look at the player he is now.
Yeah, I think they recouped a lot of that money when they sold him to PSG. It's I like. I can see why you put around 30 million. I can easily see why you put him in the flop. He's like, You're expecting so much more.
Yeah, he flopped for 75 million now. He flopped.
Yeah, go on. Flop him into the flops there.
Into the flops. Right, here's another one, Squidge. Guaranteed flop. Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz. Yeah, I'm going to put him in the not looking good. Right? I think it's too soon to be like. Look, obviously, we went out and spent 72 million on him. He's 21 years of age. He got the coronavirus. He moved to a different country while the pandemic was going on. I still do think he'll end up being a really good player, but it's not looking good for him right now. He's there. Like, you can't say he was a complete flop yet because he hasn't really played. Like, but it's not looking good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like him, like, you know, but again, I haven't seen enough of him to actually really analyze him. But yeah, I could completely agree with you. It's not looking good. You know, it's a future talent, you know, and it's big money, you know, and it was nearly one of the longest deals to pull off throughout that summer. But yeah, as of now, do you even think, like, now that he's back fit, coronavirus, free from coronavirus, all that kind of crack, do you think you see him starting for it before the end of the season?
I think, like, he was starting for Germany, lads. I think you get back in the side, and it's whether he shows what he has then when he gets back into it or not that'll decide his future. But I just think like so many things come into play between when we signed him to now. Obviously, the coronavirus and him getting coronavirus being one of those things that I think it would be unfair to, like, say he's a flop. You know, so
he's on the verge of being a flop, definitely.
Like 100%, but he's on the verge of being a flop. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being a hit. But I just think right now it's not looking good for him because he's not getting in the starting team. He seems to be half the player he was. I just think it's not looking good now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, one of them, you know, the price tag is always going to go against him regardless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the inevitable is it's not looking good. Squidge, look, I'll stick with you. It's another Chelsea guy. It's Kepa.
Flop. Please put him in the flops. For the disrespect he showed for not coming off the pitch in the Carabao Cup final against Man City. Flop all day. Highest transfer fee paid for a goalkeeper in the history of soccer or football. He is useless. His save to shot ratio is ridiculous. If any ever seen it, it's ridiculous. Flop all day. I'd not even please.
I agree. What about you, Carl?
100%.
Yeah,
like
easy.
He doesn't even. I don't even have to say no more.
Yeah.
Flop. Get rid of him. I swear, I take the hit on the money spent, and I'd literally I get rid of him. I pay him his contract. How can you not come off a pitch when your manager tells it to come off? It's just so disrespectful.
Right. Next up, I guess I'll start with this one. Alex Lacazette at Arsenal. Look, I'm just going to out and out say he came in from Lyon. He was 50 million. Had a good goal scoring record at Lyon. Look, hasn't lived up to expectation. He hasn't been a bad player. Just definitely not the striker we thought we were getting. You know, still probably shouldn't be an important part of the team, but is still an important part of our team. So, you know, I wouldn't say he's a flop. I'm sure he's going to be gone soon enough, so you could probably say not looking good. But I just think overall, to be fair to him, hasn't lived up to the expectation we had.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Definitely.
He's way too.
Sorry, it's good.
Yeah, I just think he's way too hit.
Yeah, 57 million or something like that from Lyon. Like, you know, I thought he was one of the prolific strikers in European football at the time. To be honest, I don't think he's lived up to expectation at Arsenal, to be honest. That's my
it's an easy enough one. Yeah. He's too hit and miss.
Exactly. This one now, Leroy Sané. Carl, what do you think, Leroy Sané? Bayern Munich now?
Yeah, Bayern Munich now. They eventually got their man. He was always going to go to Bayern Munich, though, wasn't he? But for City, though, lightning. He was unreal to watch. Such a threat. Like, such a young kid when he moved over as well. Big money move. It's part of that and that squad that just took over the Premier League. Like, you know, he was joy to watch. Definitely a hit for me. Like, he's still so young, and you can expect a lot more of him for both club and country. I know he's not playing for City now, but 100% he'll have a successful career.
Yeah, Squidge.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. He absolutely lit the Premier League up there, lightning fast. I think he was the Young Player of the Year when he was at City. He's like hit all day, easy. The injuries took away from it a little bit, but he's definitely still a hit.
One massive.
Yeah. Look, a player I love to watch, but at the same time hated to see playing because he always did something against Arsenal. I couldn't wait to see the back of him for that reason. But yeah, no, serious player. Unfortunate for City, he wasn't well enough for them because he would have gone on to do even more major things. Paul Pogba up next for you, Cathal.
Oh, Paul Pogba. I don't know what the story is of Paul Pogba. Like, Paul Pogba as a player has everything. Like, he's absolutely everything. He's a box midfielder. He can defend. You know, he can spray a pass. But he's so frustrating. Like, especially what he says when he's always goes with France. He always says that he wants to leave us. Like, to be honest with you, if a good deal comes in for Pogba, I'd sell him on, no bother. But the thing is, there hasn't been. I don't think there will be. Like you could say, since we've bought him back for over 100 million euros. Like, wow, was not expecting one of our own to leave us and for us to buy him back again. I used to always defend Paul Pogba, but this season for us, he's kind of stepped up. But I think he's playing for a move. At the minute, showing signs, he's out injured, but yeah, showing good signs.
Yeah, what you saying, Mikey?
£100 million player and the negativity that comes with him. Do you know what I mean? He kind of, if things aren't going his way, he'll cause unrest in the dressing room. I just don't think he's a good player to have around the club. But and as you said, Carl, like, you know the talent is there. He's won the World Cup. Do you know it's there, but it's like he's not bothered again for me. It's like he preferred to be somewhere else. I think he has lived up to expectations simply because he's a £100 million player. And if you look at what he's producing on the pitch since he came back, he doesn't look a £100 million player like. So
yeah, you're right. No, like the only reason why I'm saying showing good signs is because, like, you know, this season, like, he actually has won us a few games without him. Definitely, I'm just looking at, like, not because he played for Man United, but just because, like, his quality, like, because you do notice him when he's not playing. It's not to say that we can't win games without him. 100%. Like, hasn't lived up to expectation.
If you spend 100 million,
I think he is honestly playing for a move like the club.
Yeah, but if you like, he's had a decent season. He hasn't had an unbelievable season. He's had a decent season, and if you pay 100 million for a player, and he's having, like, this is probably one of his best seasons anyway, and it's still not. He still hasn't been, like, ridiculously good. You know, you're expecting more for your 100 million, like, plus all the negative things that come with him.
It's all about him, though. Like, he's such a seller. Like, you know, remember I think when Ollie and we lost to Cardiff, you know, the fans are going, man, especially Pogba out, and that was the rally. Like, most United fans, if you ask them now, including myself, I'd sell him, but I don't think. Why should you sell him for less than 50 million? You're that sort of way. So we're at a standstill with him. Either he's going to go on a free transfer, or we have to sell him this summer. So yeah, he hasn't lived up to that.
Yeah, look, I'd agree with you there. Look, you could potentially put him in showing good signs, but look, for 100 million, and he's already there a couple of seasons, it's a little bit, you know, too little, too late, I think, for me.
We haven't won a title either, like, so yeah.
Yeah, hasn't lived up to expectations. Ndombele at Spurs, Squidger.
I think Ndombele is showing good signs. Anytime I've seen him play, he looks like a really good baller. I think he gets around the pitch well. It was a 54 million the bottom for in and around that, was it?
65 million euro or something, I think.
65 million euros.
Right. Sorry for cutting across you, but just straight away I'm going to say, and it's nothing to do with Spurs, but for 65 million and for what he's produced, I would say not looking good for this lad.
Oh, I don't know.
Mourinho has made him. Mourinho is then again, like, he signs a player like Højbjerg, even though they've already signed a player like an Ndombele for that position. But just Mourinho again, like, he'll make an example out of you, and at the turn of the calendar year there, like, he said that Ndombele has come on, like, an awful lot, but he had to prove his trust with him. Like he's not. For me, it's you could say he's showing good signs because he's in the team now, doing bits, but it's Tottenham at the end of the day. Like Mourinho could easily fall out of favour on Mourinho. Not looking good because 65. You expect him week in week out to be starting. Providing more for the team. Even
I look. I'm after being out for it, so he's going and not looking good. But I do think he's going to end up being a right good player.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, he didn't fit into Mourinho's plans for a while, and I think Mourinho's biggest criticism was he's a lazy player, and I have seen that. And to me, he just looks like when the going gets. I know. Yeah, no, he is. He's improving. He is improving, but not long ago, I think they were looking to ship him off, and I don't think it's long before Mourinho goes. And I know there's talk of Nagelsmann coming in. I just don't know. I don't know. Will he be the type of player that they're going to want to build around? I don't think for the long term. I don't know. You might get bits and pieces out, but look, try not to buy. That's tough.
I will tell.
Yeah. So where do you want to go with?
The two of you said not looking good, so that's where he goes.
Sweet. Right, Laporte at Man City, Cole.
Laporte, was one of the again big money signing. Do you know what I mean? He's came in from Athletic Bilbao, and I think he's just unreal. His defensive qualities. He's tall. He can play the ball. He doesn't mind going forward. But you don't really catch him off guard. Yeah, I honestly think he's been a hit. Yeah, because he's justified his money, and he's always going to get starting. I think because if he's not starting, I think he's that type of player that is he will actually go mental if he's not going to. He's a team player for what he always wants. You just know by him, he deserves to be starting. It's quality. Yeah,
I think he's a hit too. Signed for 58 million. He's been the rock of the defence there for John Stones was useless there for a long time. I know John Stones in the knock are showing good signs now, but he was carrying that defence there for a long time by himself since he came in.
When the City were without him, then they lost the league to Liverpool. They were without him majority of last season.
Yeah, I think it's an easy one. Hit all day.
Yeah, no, I'll go with that. Yeah. Okay, Mahrez. What you reckon on Riyad Mahrez? 60 million, was he thereabouts?
65 million, I think, or a little bit more.
Yeah.
60 million pounds. Look, he's only started about 60% of the games since he moved. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't really. Anytime I see him playing, he's class, but he hasn't really solidified his place in the team.
Yeah,
which is very hard because 1 minute, you could go on and score a hat-trick, right? And all of a sudden, then you get dropped. And I just can't get my head around it because for me, Riyad Mahrez is keeping Bernardo Silva, Sterling. They all can play different, across the front three. We're talking about Mahrez, a player that is winning the Premier League with Leicester, has just done, the unthinkable. But Mahrez always brings that flair, and again, you know what he's going to do. He's going to cut in on the left hand and he's just going to spark it in the top corner. Whether he's going to do it or not, he's still consistent. He does it. He's a baller. He's one of the best dribblers in the league. He's fantastic to watch, and he's good value for money if you're going to watch him live. But hit, massive hit.
This is another hard one for me because he's been playing well for Man City, but he just hasn't been playing enough.
Yeah.
But it's hard to put him in the other categories as well. Do you know what I mean? You can't really say that he didn't live up to expectations either, because anytime he's on the pitch, he plays well.
And that's kind of City's philosophy, though. Regardless, they always kind of have strength and depth for that position. He could have got Player of the Year and City will still try and look and find another player for a backup for him.
Yeah.
So just what Darren Egan's saying there, lads. You keep on about prices. It's not the player's fault what he sold for. I know
we're not
some players.
the prices as like
But you have to- did he live up to the price? Like that's the kind of what we're talking about here. Like,
Yeah,
but today's
I mean,
market, today's market is just
it kind of goes hand in hand with expectation, though. Really, though, doesn't it? It goes hand in hand with overall performance versus price. You know, because like you can have a guy who wasn't all that great, but then you go, well, he was a free transfer, so he was a hit. You know, so in that sense, so it does matter. The overall price does actually matter.
Where would you put Mahrez at though?
Yeah, again, I'm really on the fence with that one because he's a great player. He really is. And when I see him play for City, he does well pretty much every time. Yeah, just I don't know. I really don't know because like that he's been in and out a bit, hasn't he? But I don't know. I don't want to say he hasn't lived up to expectation because I think
that's the kind of it's not really.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he hasn't lived up to expectations. To be honest, I wasn't expecting him to go to City and become, one of the better players. I thought he was going to go and just great player, but I thought going to City, he was a big fish at Leicester, in a small pond sort of sense. And I thought at City he wasn't going to become one of their main men. So I definitely wouldn't say he hasn't lived up to expectations. I'd probably say showing good signs because I can see him potentially making that position his own if he can be more consistent.
Yeah. Like as what Faker says there, what Pat says, or the boys in the comments, like I've no doubt that Mahrez would be a hit if he was playing week in, week out. But the fact that he hasn't nailed his place down in the team, he doesn't start as much as he should be starting.
Very hard. It's very hard for that City. It's a lot of like it literally is like no matter if Mahrez could get 4 or 5 goals in a single game, it's just question marks over when he start again next week. It's just down to Guardiola, I think.
It's like I don't really think any of the categories suit him.
Yeah.
It's just, he's a good player. Like and it's not as if he's showing good signs. He has showed good signs. He has a Premier League. Yeah. He has a few Premier League titles behind him. Like both at Leicester and at City.
I think it's the fairest category. I think it's the fairest category for Mahrez. Show good signs. When he's on the pitch, he shows good things. He shows, do you know what I mean? When he's not,
yeah, I'm happy with that.
Happy enough. For me, he's a hit because he's done it at Leicester. Like you know what I mean. Yeah. He was the main man. Then he got the move to City, and then he still won trophies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, he has to be a hit. But
yeah, cool. Right, we move on. Look. I reckon this one's going straight to hit. Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I mean Kevin De Bruyne. All records in the Bundesliga. Yeah. Coming over, just eagle pass. Yeah.
Too easy. Probably on the list. Right, next one, and I reckon this might be an easy one for me. This one's a flop. Mendy.
Yeah, he's. I don't know. I think he got fined for driving without a license there not so long ago. Or go on, Colin.
Yeah, it's just like he's had a massive injury with his knee, and they made him they signed him for big money and a position they needed filling as well. I keep saying big money, this, big money, that. It's just because it's just outrageous what City will do and what City will go out of their way to try and find a player. He suits City's style, no doubt about it. I think his first season, when he first came in, he actually looked like he was playing in that squad for ages. It's between not looking good and a flop because will he get this in even when he's fit? It's hard to tell. For me, I put him down not looking good. It's just because
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
his attitude is, I don't know, he does be injured a lot, but his attitude seems to be dire as well. So it does. Yeah. I just constantly messing or stuff. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be a proper professional. It's a
bit of a class town, like.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe just hasn't got the maturity for a high level football player at the moment.
Yeah, that's.
So next one, Rodri. What do you think, Squidge?
showing good signs.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, he's been really solid since he came in. He's really showing good signs. It's easy enough.
Well, he was again like 62.6, and Pep loves his centre mids or CDMs. Like totally. Like Fernandinho's getting old now. He probably will leave City this summer, but perfect replacement for a player like Fernandinho and what he's done for City. So like showing really good signs, showing really why they got him. 62.6, you know. It's
Yeah, I think that's fair. Right, we'll move on. Alisson in goal. What do you think about that one, Colin?
Yeah, quality goalkeeper. Like so he joined Liverpool and won the Champions League with them. Like for Roma, it was quality. Like, and then he was on and under Klopp's man management for players, made feel like home, one of their own. Yeah, he's been a hit. Like, he's made some saves that you're there thinking, like, how on earth did he get to that ball? Like, you could say showing good signs because based on this season, like, he's a bit of a controversy. His error on goals this season have been, big part in why he's not playing well. So it's between a hit or showing good signs. But I'm happy to put him in the hit category because he actually has been unreal. Definitely.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Look, okay, this season it hasn't really worked out, but look, it's not really working out for anyone at Liverpool. But I think I'd go with hit because of what him and Van Dijk came in and did to that Liverpool team and what they achieved. And again, with the transfer fees attached, this is the difference. They had huge transfer fees, which gave them huge expectation. But I definitely think they fulfilled it up to this point. Now Van Dijk aside, because he's been out injured, but up to this point, I think he's been a hit. Well, what do you reckon, Squidge?
Yeah, it's another easy decision for me. Definitely a hit. As he already covered there, like he obviously came in for the big money, but it was a department where Liverpool were actually like really, really poor in for like since when, like that Karius, Mignolet, costing them games, Karius costing them Champions League finals, you could say. They still mightn't have won it, but he made two big mistakes in the Champions League final. Yeah. Then they get their man. He makes really hard saves look easy. That's what I always say about Alisson. It's like he just, like, I know, as you said, the last couple of games or the last couple of months he's made a few mistakes, but he's easily a hit from when he came in.
100% agree with Ryan there. Like, he was the final piece of the puzzle. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it clicks. Like, you need like a goalkeeper and a striker in your team are the two players, I think, on the pitch. Everywhere else, you're going to bang average players or below par players, but a goalkeeper and a striker, like, for me, are just two main lads. And Alisson has just literally, like, he's done unreal.
Yeah, sounds good. Happy with that. Right, next one, Morata. Take it away, Mikey.
Oh, lads. Like, out of all them,
you're going to have to put one on these ones here, Mikey. You will.
this is like
he flopped.
Like, it's between flop or hasn't lived up to expectations. They're the only two we can go into. Probably flop, to tell you the truth, because much he was bought for 65 million, was it? How much did we spend on that time?
It was around that, and it was like it was either United were so interested in him or Lukaku, like, wasn't it that transfer window? And it was just like, I was thinking, Morata better not come. Like, Morata, he definitely won't do it in the Premier League. Like, he's just like one of those players. A big tackle goes in, he cries like a bitch. Like, but now outside of the Premier League, he's doing very well. Like, he's back at Juventus, where he's familiarised. But flopped in the Premier League. 100%.
Flopped in the Premier League. I remember he used to absolutely wreck my head, lads, because he used to get in great one-on-one positions about 3 or 4 times a game. Kind of similar to what Werner's doing now. And he's getting into positions, but he just wasn't able to put the ball in the back of the net. He used to wreck my head. Flop.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right, Chilwell, Squid.
Showing good signs. 50 million, best left back, one of the best left backs. He's young enough, English, showing good signs.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. What do you think, Carl?
I'm happy with that as well. It's just this is a question mark now. Why is Alonso playing in your squad? But yeah, for whatever reason he is. But yeah, Chilwell can offer goals and assists.
Chilwell will be in there. He'll be back in there soon enough, I'd say.
Yeah,
good signs, definitely. Yeah.
Right, next up, Jorginho. This one is a little bit more difficult. Colin, do you want to start with that one?
It's just look at the man beside him there, Sarri. And we talk of Sarri, we think of Sarri ball. Like that, Napoli, familiarised player. Sarri knows Jorginho very well. He thinks his quality will be matched in the Premier League, so that's why he kind of. How much did you buy him for Squidge? Was it over 50 million?
50 million.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. As a playmaker, like he was the centre, the focal point of the midfield, and had Chelsea's transition from the defence to attack. Jorginho gave their ball to Jorginho. It's not looking good for him, and he hasn't lived up to expectations. So the categories where I kind of don't know where to put him between. So I kind of leave it up to you guys because I don't think he's a bad player. I just think he's a bit too slow with it. Like he has done pass that can make or break attack. Do you know that sort of way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me as well. To tell you the truth, I never liked him. For the simple reason is because he came in when Sarri took over us and Sarri brought him. And then Sarri wanted to play him in that defensive midfielder role. And I already thought that we had the best defensive midfielder in the world in Kante. So then we ended up having to play Kante in a different position because we brought Jorginho in. So he's kind of off to losing battle with me from the start. He's a very high football intelligence. And he's good, but I think he slows up the game too much. I put him in as not looking good, to tell you the truth. I don't think he'll be at Chelsea for too much longer.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. And you know what? I think the fact that he's been linked with Arsenal the last two transfer windows will tell you it's not looking good. And I'll be honest, I was not sold on the idea of Jorginho to Arsenal. I don't think he's the style of player, just doesn't progress quick enough. It's a bit too slow on the ball. Yeah, just not for me. Don't think he'd be there much longer at Chelsea, if I'm being completely honest. I think Tuchel will replace him fairly sharpish. So I'd say not looking good.
Yeah, I have to put him there.
Oh, this next one now. Thomas Partey, Arsenal. Again, this for me is almost like a Riyad Mahrez, where I don't even think we have a category for this.
Yeah, what do you think? Like Thomas Partey, like Atletico Madrid.
I think he's showing good signs at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well,
to be honest, yeah. Sorry,
No, sorry. I was just gonna say. I was gonna say hasn't lived up to expectations, and it was purely for the fact of no fault of his own. Because when he has played, at times he has looked really good, and you can see the difference he makes. And when he partners Granit Xhaka, he improves Granit Xhaka, and that he just hasn't played enough. He's been out injured too much, and the fact that for me he hasn't lived up to expectations because at Atletico Madrid, in his whole Atletico career, he had two minor injuries. I think he missed 6 days the first time, and I think it was about a week and a half the second time. Since he's shown up at Arsenal, I think he's only played 11 times, and he's had to go off 2 or 3 times through injury. He had to be substituted off. So just for me, at the moment, I think he will, when he gets a run, he is going to be absolutely brilliant. But right now, at this very moment, for me, hasn't lived up to the expectations I had, because I thought this is the second coming of Vieira here, and I'm hoping he will. Just right now, no, he has my heart broken. He has.
Yeah, whenever I seen him play for Arsenal, which hasn't been a whole pile, he looked really good. I can see what you're saying, hasn't lived up to expectations, but that's the problem. Like, are Arsenal ever going to find another Vieira? Like, I don't think there will. I don't think there will be another Vieira at any club. But yeah, hasn't lived up to expectations.
He's the one thing, like, he's been injured now more than his career than he ever was at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah,
that sort of way. So it's just bad timing. But yeah, next season there's always, like, you can kickstart his career with Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. So we're happy to say this season hasn't lived up to expectation.
Yeah.
I think it's the fairest. Timo Werner, Squidge,
flop. He scored. He
you
scored
going,
2 goals. He scored 2 goals.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, Carl, what do you think?
Starts on him.
I always thought he was going to go to Liverpool, but surprised he actually wants to go to Chelsea. But yeah, I'm an admirer of Werner. But again, I couldn't agree with you more. There, he's flopped. Like he's actually
flopped in the
complete
Premier League so far.
I thought he was going to do. Holy! And what did he say there recently? He actually came out and said that he wasn't anticipating this league, as in to be as hard as it actually is. So with his confidence going into the Premier League, playing for his country, scoring goals for them, but he just can't do it right now in a Chelsea shirt. So that's why I think he's a flop.
Yeah, look, I would agree at this moment in time he is a flop. I do think he will get a hell of a lot better. I do. I think when he adjusts to the league, exactly. Maybe
so is it
not.
Too early days then to call him? Is it too early days to call him a flop? Considering I know all know how well he can play. It's just where would you like to see him play? Up on top.
He's just off like attacking left midfielder, let's say, off the striker out left. But he's been ridiculously bad, boys. In all fairness, I know he's got a couple of assists and won a couple of penalties. But you're talking about German international here who's been banging him in for, he's banging him in for RB Leipzig, banging him in for Germany, and then he comes to Chelsea and he literally, he looks like a child.
Yeah, and that game against Fulham springs to mind. He injured himself taking a corner, blocked the goal. As in, what more can you do?
It's a nice. I keep saying after every Chelsea match, I keep saying, right, Werner's he's going to start now. Or when just before I watch the Chelsea match, I'd say Werner's going to score tonight now. Never does. Wrecks my head.
Yeah,
I think he will end up being a good player.
Then that he's
flop.
So in the lot looking good category then.
It's a hard one because, to be fair to him, the fact that he's got so much time and he is so new, and I do think you were better. I think not looking good is probably the most fair, but you could potentially argue for flop just given the expectation that he had. And look, flop doesn't mean the player's whole Chelsea career is going to be flop. He might get better.
Up until now, he's been an absolute flop.
That's probably fair. Yeah.
So that's fair. That's fair.
Been useless.
All right. The last one we saved a pretty easy one for last. I think it's fair to say. Who wants to go on this?
Go on, Carl. Harry Maguire.
Oh yeah. I don't want to talk, but I want to leave this one to use. But at the end of the day, as I said earlier, you can't compare this guy to any other defender in the league. As much as I hate to say it, he's on that Liverpool team. But fair play, Liverpool's pulling him, and they've shown the world why. Hit all day long, considering now in this current season how much they're missing him, how much of a focal point he is for them, and money well spent. I mean, he's returned the money to the club at this stage, and he's going to make the club more money.
Easiest, probably between himself, Kevin De Bruyne, and Bruno Fernandes on who's the easiest hit of the night. Simple. It's
almost getting Ballon d'Or and everything this season when he joined. This is quality.
Yeah, he's what he did to that Liverpool defence. He's so calm on the ball. He's a leader. He's brilliant. Yeah, he's easiest decision.
Easy, definitely. So lads, look, we got there. We managed to keep it a little bit short at this time. We went to an hour and a half. Look, we're getting better. We're getting better.
We're getting there, boys.
But look,
so there it is, lads. There's what we think. Based on the money that's spent on these players. So let us know what you think in the comments. It'd be great to hear it. Let us know what you feel on Twitter as well.
100%.
Thanks for the support.
Cheers, lads.
Yeah, exactly. And like Colin was saying there, look, you can see the ticker going by at the bottom. You can see all of our Twitter handles. We're more than happy to interact on Twitter. We definitely want to get Twitter, going like this, the comment box is hopping. So like that, hit us up on Twitter, ask us questions, give us ideas. give us a bit of inspiration for upcoming shows. Let us know what you would like to see, what topics you want us to cover. We're completely open to all football relative content. So yeah, look, all the details down below. So like, share, subscribe, tell your mates, tell your granny, send us abuse. We love it. So
Will your granny be a flop in the Premier League?
Thanks very much. Keep it coming.
Cheers.
I said, actually, just before we go, seeing this one, making Instagram. Yeah, this where are we? This man. Yeah, there we sorry, cameras there. Sorry, this man here, he's gonna work on it. So, and yeah, we're gonna have a new segment called the J Lings Hour coming soon. So look out for it. So yeah, good luck, lads. Cheers.
Thanks, lads.
Thanks very much.